All right, good morning, everybody. It looks like we've slowed down on gaining people online. So we'll jump in here and get going. Actually, remember to hit record this time. So I guess those that missed all this riveting information will be able to catch it online later. Jumping straight into the packet. After seeing cash retreat a little bit, we've seen it start clawing back. That's mostly fueled on our futures. A little run up we've had the last 3 days. Kind of looks like today we're kind of moderating and slowing up. That run up towards the end of the month could be a little position squaring at the month end. But really we haven't seen a rally be able to sustain for more than about 3 days if we look back at recent history. So not really surprising. I don't have the current quotes up in front of me to see if we're falling off more, but we were down about 3 cents this morning when I looked earlier. And Josh tells me we're down 1.5 now. So I would almost imagine we'll see cash bids if we stay there, hang in the same today. If we can keep clawing back a little bit into December here, if you're sitting on a lot of grain from last year, maybe targeting that $7 seems to kind of be the popular number people are looking at to start pedaling some if we can claw back to it. Although if we see things start stalling out, I hate giving up the possible nickel if we're stalling at 6.95 and then retreat back, but we'll just see what the market does, obviously. Exports still haven't been super stellar. The report we're going to look at today actually had some decent numbers, but we've been sitting on 2 or 3 weeks that were pretty cruddy, I guess you would say. So let's just jump right over to there. Export, this was the report that was out yesterday on page 3. Your soft white wheat, your current week was 5 million bushels. So it is up above that 10-week average and a heck of a lot better than we've seen. Going clear back to almost mid-October, it looks like. If we look at all classes of wheat, look at soybeans and look at corn, if you look at the trade estimates there for those, you can see that this week's export sales kind of blew everything away on what everybody was expecting those numbers to come in at. We were above the high end expectations. So, that could have been, I think last week we were pretty much at the low or below the lower end of expectations. So it could have been a timeline issue with people anticipating, sales getting reported last week that didn't, and then they ended up coming in this week. So we're not going to complain though when numbers are higher than they anticipated. Have been some rumors floating around out there. The last couple of weeks that possibly China was in the market. If we take a look at the wheat by classes, we can kind of see that some of that was actually founded. Page 6 is all wheat. And on that right side, second from the bottom, you can see your buyers for the week. China was number 1 at just over 7 million bushels. You also had an unknown in there, which part of that could have been some of that business may be Chinese as well. We'll just have to wait and see how it shakes out. As far as looking and seeing what made up that 7 million bushels that was confirmed to China, we start going through the classes. Looks like you had almost 2.5 million bushels on hard red on page 7 that makes that up. Spring wheat, didn't see any Chinese business pop up there, but then you see it come in at about 4 million bushels on the soft red. So that's telling me that, some of this business was probably coming out of the Gulf. And I'm wanting to know why. Building my packet, I must have slid one packet in. I guess I'm out of practice. You guys ought to fire me. Sorry, you got to jump to page 19 to get to the white wheat export sales report for the week. And you do see that we've got some Chinese business in there. It's not a whole lot. That unknown classification is a little bit higher. So seeing that, that possibly that could be some Chinese business, which unknown, if you look at the year to date, on the bottom right-hand corner, you're seeing there that we're up over, I don't know, 10, probably almost 11 and a half, 12 million bushels to unknown so far. So that stuff should be shipping here. Most of it, the bigger portion that went on the books, should be shipping here anytime soon. So now to go back through this horrible packet that I built, we can actually take a look at export inspections and see where wheat was going to that shipped out of Portland. So page 13 is going to be your all wheat classes. And let's just jump to white wheat on page 17. And what's interesting is showing that U.S. wheat weekly exports by destination. You do have China on there for almost 1 million bushels, but it's interesting. It's not really showing on the export sales report anything to China. So some games being played there, I believe, is probably what's working on that, on when somebody has to actually report where that sale went to. It's hitting the export inspections prior to that happening. So I imagine we'll see some more definition in the next week or two on the export sales report, reclassifying some of those unknown sales to China, it appears. And we could have a few other countries also pop into that. We can't always just say that it's China. Given that, we didn't have Japan. Math was not in this week. I want to say maybe there was some Taiwan business first part of the week. Korean business. And, it wasn't large quantities at all. With the prices retracting, you had a lot of tire kickers coming in and asking for indications on price, nothing real super firm. And then they don't buy, and then we see the market kind of flip around and go up a little bit. So it usually kind of calms those. But sometimes if we can go on a more sustained rally, it'll kick that buying in when they think that potentially they're not going to get that deal, quote unquote deal, and get some buying started. So other factors working in the world, Australian crop was getting bigger than anticipated. This week, the news is they're getting into harvest, but they're getting too much rain as that's kicking off. So possibly some quality issues. But remember, I said it before, Australia is a large, not only country, but it's a continent. So just because somebody says it's wet in the United States doesn't mean that it's wet everywhere. So take that for what it's worth. We also continue to look at the situation in India. Nobody, USDA or anybody is saying that, yeah, they're going to be importers of wheat this year, but things keep moving along and it keeps pointing that direction, which would be definitely price positive for us out here on the West Coast. So we'll keep in tune with that. Again, not going to hang our hat on it and guarantee, and that's going to be the saving grace to get us our rally up to $8-9 or whatever we all want. But it's definitely something out there that continues to simmer and could have some legs. Anything else you want to talk about, Kaiser?
No, I think you've got it.
Black Friday for MCP meant that all of our call obligations that we're on, that we've been tracking for years here, have completely expired and gone away. There's zero on the books. So that was kind of a celebratory turning the page and moving on there, which we will take.
Also means that the farmers haven't.
Which means anybody that had the log with calls that those aren't there anymore. Those are gone. So expired. So we won't have to worry about that. With that, I would probably turn it over to Jacob for a quick update, and then if there's anything else that I can think of, or you guys have any questions, feel free to. I'll check in when Jacob's done, and we'll go from there.
Thanks, Justin. I did have one question for you. The extended river closure that's planned, has that been? I mean, it seemed like that caused futures to go up a little bit, but do you think that's going to cause any other movement in the markets or wheat locally?
I'm not anticipating anything real big. I mean, this thing's been planned for probably, I want to say I first heard about it probably 2.5, 3 years ago. Everybody knew it was coming. A lot of the people that will not be able to ship barge, they're getting their sales set up on rail. It could provide some opportunity though for MCP because McNary is the first dam upriver that's on that extended closure. So you've got just a handful of elevators, with MCP being the majority of that handful, able to ship during that extended closure time, which 12 weeks, I believe it is. So we could get in a situation where, and we even have an exporter that has their own river elevator, United Grain. They're on the upriver side of McNary, so they won't be able to ship barges out of their facility, which we do have a good trading relationship with them. So, if something happens, we can provide them product downriver as well as any other exporter. So we'll probably be looking for some opportunities there. The farmer really hasn't been turning loose a wheat, which who really wants to at these lower prices. So it's going to be a situation where if MCP gets a chance to sell something real quick, there could be a little bump in our cash bids just because we're going to need the title to wheat to be able to ship that downriver. So if you see a little run up just due to no real news except for river closure and we're trying to get title, it's probably not something that could last a long time, but yeah, opportunities abound. It's all about location.
Yeah, I was just curious, just hopeful for some reason to make the price go up from where it's been at. So,
What we
but
always
yeah, I
hope
just
for.
sent out the newsletter, so I don't have any huge updates to give. Read that if you can. But I will just summarize real quick that we do have some upcoming pesticide credit opportunities. Next week on December 8th, there's a regional Zoom one that's going on. We're not going to be hosting it locally or anything, but if you're interested in virtual credits, there's an opportunity for free pesticide credits with that. Then also on December 13th and 14th, we'll be doing local pesticide trainings as well. The 13th will be in the Dalles from 1 to 5 at the Wasco County Extension Office. Then on the 14th, they'll be in Morrow from 1 to 5 also. So each day we'll have 4 pesticide credits. So if you need pesticide credits, let me know. Plan on coming to some of those trainings. The next big thing that I'm really trying to get the word out on is I am working on doing a soil acidification workshop for dryland wheat producers. I know there was one that was done way back in the past with Brian Tuck and Sandy way back in the day. And so I'm trying to do an updated workshop on that, trying to provide people with some updated research that we've been able to do both in Morrow and also areas of Eastern Washington as well. So really trying to, hopefully that workshop will be interesting to people and we can get a good turnout. That's scheduled in January 25th from 12:30 to 5 in the Dalles. So just keep that on your calendar, and the newsletter describes that as well. That's just one thing I wanted to highlight. Other than that, don't have a whole lot else to update on. The wheat's looking pretty good across the county, and hopefully, we're getting some colder temperatures here, but a little snow I think is going to help cover the stuff up. So, but yeah, if you have any questions or comments, you guys know where to find me. So that's kind of all I've got. Just a quick update this morning. So
Awesome. Thank you, Jacob. Well, nobody has spoken up or sent any questions, so I guess we will put a bow on this and call it good and talk to everybody on December 15th, if not before. No, John Seaman's quiet today, actually. I don't know what's gotten into him. So we'll talk to everybody later.